The next one, highly controversial. This is the one you're going to argue with me, and I'm going to be on one side, you're probably going to be on the other. BCAAs, EAs. Coach Greg, and today we're going over evidence-based supplementation for competitive natural bodybuilders. So these are the supplements that the research says that you could get benefit from when dieting for competition. And in case you're not a competitive bodybuilder, well, it's probably also going to be a benefit if you're dieting down, if you're in a cutting phase, aka you're trying to get shredded. If you're in a cutting phase, you're into lifting weights, building muscle, you're dieting, calorie deficit, these are the supplements that are most likely the most effective for you. And so this study was done by popular, well-respected researchers, including Dr. Eric Helms, Alan Aragon, and Peter Fitschen. Hopefully I didn't butcher those names. Evidence-based recommendations for natural bodybuilding contest preparation, nutrition, and supplementation. So before I get into these supplements, let me preface this by saying not all supplements have been researched to the extent that they can prove that it works or doesn't work. They haven't even mentioned testosterone in this article. I don't see it anywhere, but at the time of this article, this is what the research says is effective. Beta-alanine, you know this one, the one that causes the itch, the paresthesis. This is highly contested. Some people love it, Coach Greg. Others hate it. Derek plays for dates, Sean Nalajewicz. They do not like this. I like it. What does the research say? We can't just go by my opinion, whether I like it or not. My opinion, it means something, but it's not everything. What does the research say? Beta-alanine is becoming an increasingly popular supplement amongst bodybuilders. Obviously, more and more bodybuilders are using beta-alanine, and it's created a divide. It's kind of like your views on politics, the Cove, and so on. Either hate it or you love it. And so what's the whole point of taking beta-alanine? Like, why could it even work if it does work? Well, what it does is it allows the body to buffer more lactic acid. That crazy burn you're getting when you're doing a high rep set to failure, it allows you to not feel that burn as much and you go a little bit further. So if you feel less of that burn, you can push yourself beyond failure. And so how much do you have to take? Well, this article says if you take 6.4 grams a day of beta-alanine for 4 weeks, it can increase muscle carnosine levels by 64%. And just so you know, that's what actually buffers the lactic acid. So if it's up by 64%, think of how much more lactic acid you can get rid of. Shoo, I don't want you. I want to keep doing another rep. I want to keep sprinting. Stop lactic acid. You're annoying me. With beta-alanine, you can push a bit harder, a bit further, beat out that guy that would have beat you by a 0.1 of a second. Supplementation with beta-alanine for 4 to 10 weeks has been shown to increase knee extension torque by up to 6%, improve workload and time to fatigue during high-intensity cardio, improve muscle resistance to fatigue during strength training, increase lean mass by approximately 1 kilogram, that's 2.2 pounds, and significantly reduce perceptions of fatigue. And we're not done there. If you supplement with both beta-alanine and creatine, both of them, listen to what you can gain. Combination of beta-alanine and creatine monohydrate may increase performance of high-intensity endurance exercise and has been shown to increase lean mass and decrease body fat percentage more than creatine monohydrate alone. What that means is that if you're supplementing with creatine monohydrate and you add on to that beta-alanine, you can get those additional benefits. And let me repeat what those were. Increased performance of high-intensity endurance exercise, increased muscle mass, decreased body fat. It's even better than watching my videos because it improves exercise output performance in intense endurance activities. And what are those activities? Sprinting on a bike, doing HIIT cardio, doing drop sets, time under tension training, supersets, forced reps, partials. You know, training hard, training longer than last time. If you just train for strength, 5 rep max, 1 rep max, probably doesn't matter. But if you're an athlete, you train hard, you do a variety of activities, you push yourself perhaps a minute and beyond on some sets. Maybe you do a set for a minute, you only rest 30 seconds, you go to the next one. If you push yourself anaerobically or aerobically, but to failure, hard, training hard, beta-alanine may in fact help you more than you think. However, not all studies are going to show increased performance through supplementation of beta-alanine. So depending on what you feel like saying or proving, you can take one study and say, hey, look, it didn't work. Or you can take this study, hey, look, it worked. So in the end, it's up to you. You decide. If you don't want to take beta-alanine, don't take beta-alanine. And I'm smart enough to know that not everyone wants it, likes it. Not everyone likes that itchiness. I don't mind it at all. Probably makes me better. But guess what? I've got both supplements. I have one with beta-alanine and one that's coming out without it. So you make your own decisions. You decide what supplements you want to take. If you want to take beta-alanine, you believe in it, take it. If you don't, get the one without it. Creatine, I do believe, is the safest and most studied supplement of all. Certainly safer than beta-alanine, safer than caffeine. That has potential for abuse. But creatine, not much harm can come from creatine. Creatine monohydrate has been called the most ergogenic and safe supplement that is legally available. And in case you don't know, ergogenic means that it has an athletic performance benefit. So when it says ergogenic, it's meaning it's good. It's like, yeah, it works. So of all the supplements you can take that are natural in this world, creatine is probably the safest one to take with the most benefit. Safest, most benefit. So if you're not taking creatine, if there's one supplement that I would take, probably going to be creatine. I like caffeine. I personally like caffeine more, but it's not safe for everyone. If I had to pick one, I'd pick caffeine. But hey, if you're worried about being the most safest supplement that can build muscle, probably going to be creatine. Numerous studies have shown that creatine can improve size and strength. That's what we want to hear. Many of these studies show that creatine could build 1 to 2 kilograms in only a month of use. Some people believe you needed a loading phase. We don't believe that anymore. Just take your 5 grams a day and you're good. And if you miss a day, it's not the end of the world, but please try to take it every day. HMB. Have you ever heard of this? Some studies show that it can be effective and others are saying, no, probably not. HMB does seem to be more effective in catabolic populations, the elderly, those with chronic diseases. But have you ever seen a bodybuilder on a crash diet? Does that not seem catabolic to you? So HMB may in fact be beneficial. However, we just don't have the studies to this point. It's not like people are looking for 1,000 bodybuilders on a diet and saying, hey, can you take this, not take that, and do all this? But if there is a time and place for it, I do believe it's while you're on a diet. The next one, highly controversial. This is the one you're going to argue with me, and I'm going to be on one side, you're probably going to be on the other. You've heard a lot of people saying this, BCAAs, EAs, and they don't do jack shit. I personally believe they work, but in the right circumstances. If you're already eating a lot of protein, 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, it's not going to build muscle. But if you're on a lower protein diet, perhaps you're vegetarian, vegan, you're not getting enough quality proteins, I personally believe BCAAs, EAs can help. But let's see what the scientific research actually says. BCAAs make up 14 to 18% of amino acids in skeletal muscle and are quite possibly the most widely used supplements among natural bodybuilders. So despite the fact that people keep saying they're useless, I see these videos over and over again. It's one of the most common supplements amongst natural bodybuilders. Remember, this is a video for dieting bodybuilders, on a cut, calorie deficit. They're not on a bulk. So you are in fact dieting, restricting calories. Can having more BCAAs, which are protein essentially, can that help you build muscle? Numerous, that means a whole shit ton of studies have shown that supplementing with EAAs, essential amino acids, or BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, can decrease protein degradation. Not only that, it can increase muscle protein synthesis, aka build muscle and prevent muscle from being unbuilt, torn apart, wrecked, destroyed. If you're against BCAAs, EAAs, it means that you don't believe these studies. You think, nope, they probably made it up. It's just fluke. Coincidence. Perhaps paid by supplement companies to spew bullshit nonsense. But this is how I see it. If BCAAs and EAAs are in fact protein, and protein builds muscle, how can you say that BCAAs or EAAs can't help you build muscle? Does that make sense? It would be like saying protein powder is useless. Overrated supplement. Why are people supplementing with protein powder? You're already getting protein from food. You don't need it. It doesn't work. Well, if protein powder works, EAAs, BCAAs can work. How can they not? They're both in fact protein, and protein is, last I checked, used to build muscle. Stepani et al. Supplemented trained subjects with 14 grams BCAAs, whey protein, or a carbohydrate placebo for 8 weeks during a periodized strength training routine. After training, the BCAA group had a 4 kilogram increase in lean mass, 2% decrease in body fat percentage, 6 kilogram increase in bench press, 10 repetition maximum, and all changes were significant compared to the other groups. What do I think of that? I think that's bullshit. I'm not just going to read this and go along with everything they say. I think it's bullshit. There's no way BCAA is helping that much on top of the protein. It's not going to help that much. And shocker, it should be noted that this data is only available as an abstract and has yet to undergo the rigors of peer review. So imagine, had I omitted that last part, you would have read this and thought, oh my goodness, BCAAs, 4 kilograms extra muscle. That's over 8 pounds of muscle. 2% less body fat, 2%. Think how much fat that is. And a 6 kilogram increase in the bench press. So I'm just pointing out how any research study can say whatever you want. If you dig deep enough, you're going to find research to back anything up. So please be cautious and please be careful. I personally think BCAAs can be beneficial when you're on a diet, especially in a calorie deficit, when dieting for competition. But hey, you make up your own mind. If you don't want to get BCAAs, EAAs, then don't. In the end, protein's protein, and if you're supplementing with BCAAs, EAAs, and it gives you extra protein and you need it, well, it's probably going to help now, isn't it? And remember, if you're a vegetarian or vegan or not eating a lot of protein, especially high quality protein, don't you think that BCAAs or EAAs are going to be that much more likely to help you? It's common sense to me. If you're already eating a shit ton of protein, high quality protein, whey proteins and so on, you probably don't need that extra protein. But if you're dieting, not getting in the protein that you need, probably BCAAs and EAAs are going to be a supplement that's useful to you. Arginine, NO supplements. Are these beneficial? Well, studies say, no, probably not. Moving on to the next one. Flick the coin. Does it work? Maybe, maybe not. It's like all supplements. Until you have enough research taken long enough with enough bodybuilders, how do we know it actually works? If you want to try it, you think it works, take it. If you don't take it. The research is inconclusive to this point. And what about citrulline malate? Well, some research, of course, is saying it works amazingly well. Some are saying, doesn't really work. And is it safe long-term? They don't actually know. Every supplement that we're taking, we don't know for certain, 100% for sure, that it couldn't potentially do anything. In 100 years from now, maybe we'll know. Maybe in 1,000. But right now, maybe it's safe, probably it's safe, but we don't know for sure. However, supplementing with citrulline malate for 4 weeks has been shown to increase ATP production by 34%. Also, an increased rate of phosphocreatine recovery by 20% following exercise. That is huge. So if it actually does this, most likely, of course it works. But how do we prove it for sure? To this point, we don't really know. We need more studies to see and find out. 8 grams citrulline malate has been shown to increase repetitions to failure by as much as 50%, decrease muscle soreness by 40%, and improve maximum strength and anaerobic power. Well, it does this through increased ATP production, which is what you use for energy in the gym when you do a set ATP, as well as its ability to act as a buffering agent. So with less lactic acid, more ATP production, you can do sets longer than last time. Longer sets, training harder, can lead to more muscle growth. And not all research on citrulline is great. They did a study, they got people to ride 137 kilometers and they supplemented with citrulline malate and they didn't notice a benefit. Does that mean it has no benefit to endurance? Maybe, maybe not. Think of it, 137 kilometer bike ride and get a bunch of people volunteer. It's not enough. Research can't prove or disprove anything. It takes so much research, meta-analyses, multiple studies done over decades to really know and understand a supplement. So the next time you're quick to judge something as does it work or not, and you just, whoa, I'll just wait for that study to come out. That study, that one study to come out, you need dozens, hundreds of studies done over multiple periods of time to really know, is it safe, is it effective, and by how much? And what about glutamine? Well, overall, they never really noticed any big change in muscle strength, size, none of this stuff. So to this point, glutamine probably not going to do anything, but do we really know for sure? We don't really know for sure. So if you do like glutamine, then, well, by all means, take it. It seems to be safe up to 14 grams a day, it's saying, but most likely it's not going to make a big difference either way. And what about caffeine? Well, caffeine has been shown to be an ergogenic aid, banned in the Olympics prior, and how much? 5 to 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. Don't take more than that. For me, close to 90 kilograms, about 500 milligrams. Remember, if you're combining with other stimulants, it's going to have a compounding effect, so be careful. And remember this, if you take caffeine all the time, if you take that maximum dose, 500 milligrams a day for months on end, it's not going to have the same benefit if you haven't taken it. So be careful. Don't use it every day. Save it for when you need it. And if you do get used to it, it's obviously not going to have the same boost, the same kick. And what about micronutrients? Well, if you're on a diet and you're not eating properly and you're sticking to the same 3 foods all the time, chicken, broccoli, and rice, you're probably going to be deficient in certain micronutrients. So it stands to reason, probably could benefit from it, but there's no research proving this. But what I can tell you is you should probably eat a balanced diet, try to get most of your minerals, micronutrients, all this from food. If you want to add a multivitamin on top of it, well, why not? And obviously, I don't have time to touch on everything, so I do recommend you read from start to finish this article that will be linked in the description. And it goes on to discuss about the mental struggles, body dysmorphia, eating disorders, and so on that are associated with dieting for competition. So please read that and be cautious. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about natural supplements. Very hard to prove which ones work, but there are some that seem to be effective. Get those, don't get those, it's up to you. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette, IB Pro. Please watch the boops. Don't forget, harder than last time supplements. If you do want to get some of these supplements, including turkesterone, that obviously we want more research on, you can get those by clicking the link in the description. Cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team. We can do those for you. Phone consults. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm. Until next time, I'm out.